We're going to move on now to hear from John Spindler, who's the Chief Executive of Capital Enterprise. John's going to talk to us about deep experience working with early stage businesses, knows the business support ecosystem inside out, knows a great deal about how early stage businesses can source funding through grants and the like. So I am going to leave it to him to explain a little bit further about these issues. So John, over to you.
Go on. Thank you ever so much. Will said I've got 10 minutes to rush through this, so I am going to rush because I realise you all want to get out of this very hot room and probably network with each other. Capital Enterprise, we're about 55 members. We are the enterprise units of universities. We are the incubator funds, incubator units across London. We are the enterprise agencies. We are the guys that basically deal with the pre-seed and the seed. Most of you here today, I suspect, are somewhere in that kind of a category. And I'm going to try and kind of tell you what's available in terms of support. And basically kind of try and kind of go through that. Okay, let's start with a bit. Where are you? Pre-seed, seed or startup? Let's see, and I'll ask the people looking for investment where they are. Pre-seed, good idea, founder team are developing a full business plan, you've completed some market research, you've registered your IP, you've confirmed the business opportunity. Who reckons that's them? Okay. Seed, you've demonstrated the opportunity. You're now engaged in setup, you've made that commitment. You're developing your product and service to the proof of concept. Everyone working that, what that base means, proof of concept, and your market testing. Who's at seed? Okay. And startup and Series A, you've launched your company, you've entered the market rapidly, approaching revenue and cash break even, you're hiring the key employees, you're ready to scale up. Who's there? You see, that, and who's basically all three, depending on who you're talking to. Yeah, I thought so. I'm really going to talk about the first two because I think actually most of us need, basically, before you heard the first speaker saying about a year to get his funding. And I think that's quite fast. Generally, it's probably been longer. And anyone that's going through raising equity finance knows that what's called the transaction costs, the time and effort it takes to get that, is so inefficient. And in the meantime, your opportunity is probably time limited. Your money is kind of leaking out very fast. And many times, basically, you never get to that stage. So I'm going to say, can our guys buy you some time? And that's what I'm going to try and talk about today. Okay, what sources of finance? Most of you, I presumably, the number one source of finance is sweat. Who agrees? Yeah, kind of basically you're out there, you're using your own time and money. If you're already starting up and running customers and suppliers, kind of don't forget that's the cheapest source of finance. Enormous industry has been built on the fact that they never use their own money. British retail being the major one of that sector. Debt providers, we've had NatWest. Very interested in EFG. Does everyone understand what EFG is, by the way? I didn't know that was an enterprise finance guarantee. It's effectively the government underwriting about 75 or 80% of the basic security required to underwrite the loan. Equity providers, you know all about that. Matching the right mix of sources at the right stage is a key to successful fundraising. And this is probably the single message you'll get across today. What's the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is no one wants to accept the risk. Everyone wants to pass on the risk. And one of the fundamentals we see about 5,000 startups a year, my groups, and what happens in most cases is that they're trying to pass on the risk to someone else. You're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to kind of bite the bullet. You're going to have to accept that. The VCs, the angels, basically the banks, even suppliers and customers, no one wants to accept risk. That's your job. And you might as well basically say that because if you're going around, especially if you're at pre-seed, do realise what risk you're about to take and basically hold it and see if you can actually manage and deliver on that. Okay, what do you need the capital for? Okay, set up pre-seed, could be up to 100K. Can we basically get some of that down for you? What do you need the money for? Legal fees, Keystone Law. Can we basically get them to do some work for you? Maybe. Equipment, website, accommodation. Where do you get it? Obviously, your bootstrap, sweat capital, family, friends. Personal credit. You probably know the single largest source of finance for a startup is the credit card. You know, and I'm sure that most of you have maxed it already. Okay, research and development capital. Now, I made an assumption that most of you have got some unique IP, and that unique IP takes time and money to develop. If you haven't, maybe this is the wrong audience, the wrong event to be at. And so what do you need it for? The proof of concept, both technical and commercial. Does it work? Will it work? Can it get through to the market? Your IP registration, and I say time again, this is it takes a lot of time to get this off. Fundamentally, we see there's a whole secret army of entrepreneurs out there now. Can I ask those that are at pre-seed seed, who's got another job or another income stream that's funding them? Fundamentally, you're not alone. That's fundamentally how it works. Who's relying on family and friends to cover the mortgage while you're basically trying to fundraise? We ought to be honest about these things. Basically, that's the time it takes. There's a whole secret army of entrepreneurs out there. Who's working in a university at the moment? Yes, well, just one. Okay, talk to me later. Okay, then. Who will fund proof of concept? And I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe the government things. And the government's basically got two ways of helping you. One is grants, and that's incredibly hard to find. And this present government in particular is going to go down the American model of tax incentives. Roughly, that's what you will be hearing all the time, whether it's enterprise zones or whatever. And the other part, which I will go on a little bit later, is open innovation collaborations. Can we get you to work with industry and to work with universities to reduce your R&D costs? And I'm kind of here to say we can. Okay, working capital, customer, suppliers, banks, etc. Quite difficult to get if you have no orders, by the way. So, and the startup and growth. And obviously, you've got investors in here, and I hope you do meet them later to kind of talk about. What is the government doing on some of it? It's a basic movable feast. This government is changing things as we speak, and I will try and kind of keep you abreast. But you had an interview today with Mark Priss that probably kind of revealed some more kind of detail on what he's looking to do. So I'm sure will probably cover that at the panels for those that work here during the day. Okay, so I was asked to give an overview. Where do you go? Well, until the 25th of November, go to Business Link. It's still here. I think we have a couple of Business Link people. Do you want to wave? One down here. That's Malcolm. Kind of, okay, basically, still a great place while they're here. Use them. Kind of, they do know quite a bit. Most of you probably should look at the HMRC Small Company Enterprise Centre or give them a call. You should know about enterprise investment schemes, VCTCs, etc. If you don't, have a look at it. Basically, obviously, mainly you'll be doing it with your professional advisors to help you go through that process. Tax credits, HMR tax credits. We're finding considerably amount of people are actually using this now to fund that kind of period between seed and scale. If you haven't looked at it, you can basically claim up to 175% the cost of your R&D. And you can do this if you're even not making a profit. Admittedly, it goes into a tax credit. I don't know if you've been to the website. You've probably not seen a long equation like that since you did maths basically at A-level or before. It's incredibly difficult. We're going to be running some workshops basically in the spring basically to help people go through that. I tried it myself in my couple of businesses. Once I succeeded, once I failed. I do not know the difference. It's quite complicated. Anyone actually gone through the process here? How complicated is it? It's much more than you think, and the government should be criticised for making it so. I'm sure you've all looked at the British Business Angel Association, the London version, LBAN, British Venture Capital, information. Well, I use TechCrunch. You've all probably got your favourite, basically to kind of peruse what's doing, who's got a deal here, who's basically found a small grant there, how many competitions are going, what's etc. etc. So do basically sign yourselves up for them. I'm sure you've still got some of your own. In terms of London, what's available? Well, London Technology Network, fantastic organisation, basically based actually opposite here. Very good if you're a technology-based business to get you the inside information and linked. You all should sign up for the knowledge transfer networks. I'm going to explain why later. Who here is signed up to Minibar? I think it's okay. I mean, I quite enjoy going. Seed Camp, who's heard of Seed Camp? Difficult to get on, but one of our members basically hosts it, UCL. So, kind of, if you're looking for insider tips, let us know. And obviously, if you get onto Seed Camp, I mean, that's a particularly strong case of actually meeting investors